Welcome to The Bubble, the podcast that pops your comfort zone and scrambles your brain. Fasten your seatbelt. It's gonna get weird.
Today, we're diving into someone you definitely know, Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. Billionaire, tech guy, space entrepreneur.
Internet meme lord.
Yeah.
You name it. But we've been looking through a whole stack of sources, articles, some research, even some pretty funny satirical takes.
Right.
And they keep circling around this honestly kind of surprising question. Does this guy actually hate South Africa?
It's a provocative question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, some of the material we found pushes it even further, like almost jokingly.
Almost.
Well, yeah. Suggesting maybe he's not entirely human. Like maybe he's just some super advanced AI that started out in Pretoria. Escaped Pretoria, right? Gave itself a few firmware upgrades and bam, started Tesla.
Okay, that's quite a theory.
It is. So we're going to look at these sources. Some are sharp commentary, some are just facts, some have this, hint of suspicion, all trying to understand this guy who basically left Earth, lost his accent somewhere along the way.
And might just be running on code?
Who knows?
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're going to try and pull apart his origin story, look at what he's doing now, and yeah, touch on these wilder theories too.
Sounds like a plan.
Right. So origin story, that's where it starts. The sources all note, born in Pretoria, went to private schools, but then poof, he leaves at 17.
Yeah, just 17. And notably, didn't do the compulsory military service back then. He just left.
Yeah.
And the sense you get is he didn't really look back much.
One piece we read had this funny line saying he got out of South Africa faster than Eskom drops a stage of load shedding.
Huh. That's painfully accurate, maybe. But seriously, that theme, that detachment, it seems really consistent when you look at the overall story the sources paint.
How so?
Well, think about it. He rarely, if ever, talks about South Africa publicly. You don't see big philanthropic projects tied back there, not in the way you might expect.
Yeah, and the global media almost always just calls him American, right? Or maybe South African-born American.
Exactly. And he doesn't seem to rush to correct that, does he? It's just accepted.
It does make you think, especially like when you compare him to other really famous South Africans abroad. Trevor Noah, for instance.
Right. Noah constantly talks about South Africa, uses his platform, integrates his background. It's central to his identity,
Which really throws Musk's approach into sharp relief. It feels like a very conscious uncoupling almost.
And that brings us right to the core question in a lot of this material. Is it just, okay, I moved on, simple disinterest? Or is there something, I don't know, deeper going on?
And that's the doorway to let's call them the less conventional theories.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Including what some sources playfully dub the robot theory.
Ah, yes. The robot theory. I mean, the commentary does point out his public speaking style can be quite distinct.
That perceived lack of easy emotional display, the sort of pauses.
Which some people joke sound like he's buffering.
Exactly. And, let's be honest, the guy built empires on internet code and rocket science. It's not that big a leap for the imagination, is it?
Especially given his public fascination with AI, artificial intelligence.
Right. So one source kind of poses it playfully. What if he is the AI? The ultimate inside job for a tech billionaire.
There was that one quote. It was clearly satire, but it stuck with me.
Oh, I think I know the one you mean.
This dude names his kid XAA12.
That's not a child. That's a firmware update. Yeah.
It's funny, but it also kind of highlights how we try to explain extreme success or, behavior that seems unusual. We reach for these simple, sometimes even dehumanizing boxes.
It's true. It's a fascinating way people process extreme outliers. But then the research takes a turn, doesn't it? It sort of flips the script.
How so?
Well, suggesting that South Africa didn't just, produce him and then he left, but that it fundamentally forged him.
Okay.
Think about the environment described in some sources. Growing up there, particularly during that era, it could be intense, unpredictable, maybe even dangerous at times.
So the idea is maybe that detachment isn't a bug, it's a feature.
Exactly. Maybe it's a coping mechanism learned early on. Or maybe it's what created that single-minded, absolutely relentless focus he has, forged in that specific fire,
So the sources are suggesting this drive, this almost inhuman level of ambition needed for SpaceX, for Tesla, for Neuralink, that might actually be a direct result of his South African upbringing.
That's the argument some material makes.
Yeah.
That maybe the drive itself is his connection to his origins, even if he never mentions the place, its contribution, just not a verbal one.
That's a really interesting angle.
And connecting to that, one of the more speculative sources, we looked at these sort of 3ITLAS logs.
Right, those were unusual.
Very. They frame this detachment in this almost programmatic way. Talks about subject EMUSK disengaged from native region in 1995.
And then?
Emotional attachment, purged, objective, expansion, outcome, unknown. It presents this idea, this Pretoria protocol.
Which isn't meant literally, like computer code.
No, not literally programming, more like a conceptual framework, suggesting a kind of deliberate shedding of past emotional connections to focus entirely on future goals, an approach possibly born from that intense early environment.
Okay, so we've gone through his origins, the detachment, the robot jokes, this idea of being forged by the place. It brings us back really to that first question, doesn't it?
It does.
Does Elon Musk hate South Africa, or is he just emotionally firewalled, operating on a different protocol maybe?
And what's fascinating, I think, is how exploring these theories, the serious analysis, the satire, all of it, forces you to think about bigger things.
Like what?
Well, like where does that kind of massive ambition even come from?
Yeah.
What is identity, really, especially when someone becomes this huge global figure? Is that detachment, if that's what it is, a result of the past, or is it something you need to achieve that kind of future?
Deep questions.
Definitely.
Well, whatever the reason, if he ever does decide to, reconnect a bit more publicly, I just hope he practices saying Magaliesburg properly. Get the old accent back for that one.
Yeah, that would be something. But it leads to maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on, something that really sums up the journey described in these sources. This idea of having no accent, only upgrades, makes you think about identity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And how people evolve, or maybe how they consciously engineer their own evolution.
You've been inside the bubble. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious.